Hello there. It's been a while since I uploaded on this channel. I've been really busy with my specialist cadet course, which is basically the course that you go through to become a sergeant. Blah blah blah, but basically I've been busy with army. And now I have a bit of time to talk about this pen, the Visconti Medici Oversize in brown / rose gold trimming. And this is a really beautiful pen. I love it so much. Here's the box. It's quite elegant. It looks like a jewelry box, but I'm paying like $1,000+ for this pen, so it better look good. Here's the pen itself, glorious, and you have a pull tab to access the bottom flap, which contains a brochure that incentivizes you to spend even more money than you already have, which I'm not gonna be able to do. So here is the Medici, and it's glorious. As you can see, it's elegant. It's almost dreamy, just how this pen looks. But let's not get caught up in that. So here's the top finial. You have the V in Visconti, and it's quite rusted because this pen's previous owner did not take very good care of this pen. I just said this pen twice in one sentence, but anyway, it's rusted. But the good thing with the Visconti is it has the My Pen system, so basically you could swap this out for like a gemstone or anything else, basically. So it's okay that it's rusted, as long as I take the time to swap it out, which I'm not gonna do. Then you have the Visconti clip, which is nice and springy, very, very classy with that arch shape. Unfortunately, the Visconti text is laser engraved and it's not enamel, but you gain some, you lose some. Then you have the center band here with the word Medici engraved inside. It's a really beautiful looking center band. It's really nicely textured and it has that rose gold glint to it. And then the pen body, I mean, just look at that. The way those swirls catch the light is fascinating. Like I could just stare into those little particles for minutes. But anyway, here is the very end of the pen. On the bottom finial here is just more acrylic, one more band, and the turning knob for the power filler system, which is basically a vacuum fill system. You pull this out, dip it in a bottle of ink, push it down, and the pen fills itself. So it's great. Let's take off the cap. It's one of those twist and pull caps by Visconti. Very, very nice to use. And here we have the section, which is in the same acrylic that the pen is made out of. And I love that so much. It looks so great, even uncapped. Even uncapped? Why should it not look good uncapped? It looks great uncapped. And then you have these threads, I guess, and they're really hard to notice. Like at a distance, you could barely see that they're even there, which I like a lot. And it tapers up slightly to the nib itself, which is absolutely stunning. It's got that rose gold color to it with very lovely stamped textures. Visconti 18 karat Firenze with a really, really juicy feed as well. This pen is actually the older version of the Medici. There is a new Medici which has the enamel text for the clip, and it also has enamel here for the center band, which makes the whole pen a bit more defined. Like there's a bit more depth in the pen, if you get what I mean. But that's the new one. Mine is the older version. But even though it's the older version, it does not have that 23 karat palladium nib. It has the 18 karat gold one, which I don't mind. Visconti gold nibs are great when they do work. And I'll talk more about that later as well. But for now, here is a brief size comparison with a Lamy Safari or a Lamy All-Star, but it's not that deep. And I would say they're around the same thickness and length, basically. So this being an oversized pen, it's not that big. Yeah, it feels like a slightly above average size for a fountain pen. But that's all I have to say. Let's get into the writing sample, and then I'll give you my thoughts about this pen. Okay, let's get into the writing sample for this pen. So here we have the, let's write it here, Visconti Medici, oversize in rose gold. And I haven't written anything in almost 2 months, 3 months. So yeah, pardon my handwriting a little bit. I mean, I've written, but I've only been writing like my daily routines in the army camp. So this has an 18 karat gold nib, which is a medium. Alright, and the ink is diamine. I think you can already guess what this is. This is oxblood. And I think this ink really does suit this pen. And the paper is just Rhodia. I've run out of Clairefontaine a while ago. But anyway, here we have the writing sample, which I'm gonna try to write in bigger words for you. Kind of ran out of space on that last word there, but there you have it. And here we have the wetness. That's a very juicy pen. I love it so much. And this pen, for an 18 karat nib, I would say is a bit more stiff. Like, you could definitely get a bit of line variation, but then again, I would not push this pen. This is like one of the only pens I own that I don't feel comfortable pushing. So I wouldn't do it on this pen, because this is 1,100 euros according to Visconti's official shop, which is 1,200 dollarinos, pretty sure. So yeah, you could definitely find it for cheaper than that, but that is kind of like a basic idea of how much you're gonna have to pay for this pen. Oh, I forgot about line variation. Here we have the line variation, consistent, you know, not a stump nib, and fast writing, not a problem at all. Like, I could use no pressure and it would just write. So it writes beautifully. Now let's talk about what I like and what I don't like about this pen. So for one thing, this is a pretty big thing. When I first got this pen, it did not write like well at all. Like, I had to press down hard on the nib in order for the pen to write at all, basically. So it was a clear problem. You know, the tines were too close. The two nibs, the two parts of the nibs were too close together. I've had this problem on a lot of my more expensive pens, but it's quite annoying, but it's pretty easy to fix. It's just a little bit scary. You basically have to push the nib down and force the tines open permanently. So open it up a little bit more. But now that I've done that, it writes wonderfully. It's a juicy writer, and it is very smooth. It's one of the smoother writers I have. It definitely has a little bit of feedback. Like, for example, my Lamy 2000 is a bit smoother than this, but I still prefer this pen to that because it's so comfortable to hold. Like, this section is absolutely phenomenal, and the material is just comfortable in the hand. And the little bit of feedback that it has is actually, it gives the pen a more enjoyable writing experience, I would argue. And it looks beautiful. Like, obviously, it's absolutely stunning, and it's just a piece of art in my opinion. There's not much I can say about this pen that's bad, besides the problem with the nib, which, let's be honest, if I'm paying 1,100 euros for a pen, that shouldn't be a thing. There's not much to complain. Another thing I found out after watching a SBRE Brown's video was that the knob on the back does not align with the pen body. Like the facets, you can see it's just like slightly off. You can see those like ledges there. You could solve the problem by either tightening it a lot or loosening it, but I'm not gonna do either. It's not that big of a deal to me for me to ruin the pen. Besides that, I seriously have no comments. This is one of those pens that I just absolutely love. It might be my top 5 pens of all time, but that list has to wait. Anyway, thanks for watching. Goodbye.